Welcome, welcome, friends. It is Tuesday, August the 5th. This is Hurricane Hub Live, streaming on 13 News Now Plus. We also want to give a special shout out to our YouTube subscribers that may be watching this on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube and you're streaming on 13 News Now Plus, thanks for joining us. I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandages, and tonight on HHL, we've got a more active basin out there in the Atlantic. We still have one named storm, and that is Dexter. It's spinning in the North Atlantic. It will not be bothersome to any landmass. It's a fish storm, as we call it, and it will slowly become post-tropical as it heads into the North Atlantic and loses its tropical characteristics. However, right behind it, Erin or Fernand, we've got two areas of interest that both have seen an increase in their likelihood of developing into our next named storms, either Erin or Fernand, out in the Atlantic Basin. And for one of those, a reconnaissance mission. The hurricane hunters are being called up to investigate one of these areas of interest off the southeast coast of the U.S. tomorrow afternoon. So that'll plug in new data to the models, and we should get a better image on what might occur off the southeast coastline in the coming days. In regard to hurricane season, we're beginning our ascent to the peak of the season. By the time we get towards September the 10th, you see there's a marked increase in activity overall based on past hurricane seasons in the month of August. We knew this would happen. Usually June and July are rather quiet, like we saw this year. And already we're kicking off August with one named storm in the basin and the possibility of a few more before the next 7 days is out. Let's start off with the only named storm in the basin at the moment is Tropical Storm Dexter, barely hanging on to a tropical storm status. 39 miles per hour or greater is considered a tropical storm, and we pretty much barely have that. There's Bermuda. There's the east coast of the U.S. This is moving farther to the north and east and away from any land masses. We had looked at this yesterday, visible satellite imagery, to show just how sheared this storm system is, and it continues to be, impacted. That's the word I'm looking for. Wow. Impacted by southwest winds that are coming in aloft. That's kind of displacing all the convection off to the northeast side, exposing the low-level center there. You're seeing some blips in the graphic images there. We had some data drops on some of the satellite imagery earlier today. But Dexter is track going forward, maintaining a tropical storm status probably for the next 12 hours or so. And then it's going to become post-tropical as it heads into some colder ocean waters. And basically what that means, a post-tropical cyclone is just a former tropical cyclone that has just simply lost its tropical characteristics, like a warm core as well as organized structure. So it's going to likely see its wind field expand a little bit. Typically with post-tropical systems, you see the strongest of the winds farther away from the center. With a tropical system, usually you have to get closer in. This is transitioning just mainly to a typical low pressure system that'll just be situated in the North Atlantic as we go through the end of the week. Elsewhere in the basin, not much else going on that you can see really from looking at satellite imagery. However, we do have two areas to watch that are areas of interest. They have not been tagged as investigative areas. They likely will be soon, probably after we see the Hurricane Hunter aircraft fly into this developing area here. Now, this is the same stalled, washed out boundary that spawned Dexter. Okay, so it's still lingering over these areas. Sea surface temperatures in this area are very, very warm. You've got the Gulf Stream kind of replenishing that warm water from the south, coming up through the Florida Straits and through the Bahamas, bringing that warm water. So it's got plenty of fuel. Overall, environmental conditions are marginally favorable, which is why the odds have gone up a little bit, up from 30% yesterday to 40% today within the next 7 days. And notice within this hashed area, there's not much going on at the moment. It's going to take some time to kind of organize and get itself together, but it may very well do so in the next 7 days or so. Well, we've seen many areas develop off the southeast coastline over past hurricane seasons, and even this hurricane season was Chantal about a month ago. Elsewhere, we've got another area of interest here. This has also not been tagged as an investigative area. This is one of our robust tropical waves that have emerged off the coast of Africa, an African easterly wave here. It's got a long ways to go, but generally trekking to the west and eventually northwest, possibly heading into the open Atlantic. Very large area here, kind of expands farther out you go, kind of like a forecast cone with more uncertainty in the longer range. There's a lot more area that it can travel. Some models take it off into the northwest, into the middle Atlantic, not affecting anybody. Some kind of track it a little bit farther to the south. Now, what will be more concerning here is going to be the wave that's emerging behind it and what models are doing with that one after this kind of exits and clears the stage left. We'll see that possibly be a low runner or a low rider, meaning a low latitude system that's going to track farther to the west and possibly make it into the Caribbean in the long range. So a lot of time to watch it. It hasn't even come off the coast yet. All right, here's a look at the Hurricane Hunter mission statement for tomorrow. They're going to be investigating this zone. They're coming out of Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi, 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron there from the Hurricane U.S. Air Force Reserve there, flying a 130J. They take off tomorrow at 11 a.m., and they'll be conducting their mission for about 4 hours in the afternoon. We likely won't see the data get input into the models until later on tomorrow evening, but it should give us a little bit more of an insight into what may happen with that system that may develop there off the southeast coast. Let's look at it on the models here. I switched things up, showing you the European model now. This is kind of what it's depicting there, some spin starting to get itself together, and as we go farther out in time, we start to see that spin organize a little bit more, but the European model does something a little bit interesting here. Yesterday, the Euro and the GFS were bringing whatever does develop up over the Carolina coast. Now it looks to be kind of doing a little loop similar to what Dexter did and taking it well offshore of the eastern seaboard, good news, and then looping on out to sea there in a very similar track scenario to what Dexter did. And you can see here by next Monday, this little blip here, this is also the European model, takes that wave off the coast of Africa and takes it over even to the east of Bermuda on this run. We'll see how that plays out. Longer range outlook was released today from the Climate Prediction Center, and it's the most robust outlook I think we've seen so far, highlighting the main development region for some development with this first wave, and then look right behind it. There's another area near the Cabo Verde Islands for that secondary wave emerging off the coast that right now, low chances of that developing, but of course it's like 10 days out, so things could certainly change. The time frame we're looking at there, August 13th through the 19th. Let's see how the models handle this. We'll look at both the GFS and the European here. Let's start off with the GFS as the first wave here, kind of organizing it and tracking it to the north of the Lesser Antilles, and then taking it this time around even to the northeast of the Bahamas. That's a change from yesterday. Remember, yesterday it was sitting over the Bahamas. Now it's a little bit corrected to the north. And then does it loop out to sea? Does it threaten the southeast coast? Way too early to tell. This is August the 14th, 9 days out from now. We could not even have anything on the maps at that point in time. But that's what the GFS model sees right now. The European model doesn't really do a whole lot with this first wave. You can kind of see it developing and drifting it off to the north. The secondary wave, though, does start to try to develop, and that looks to be a low rider. Look how low latitude this is. This is almost towards the coast of South America, towards the ABC Islands here. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a storm there. We've had several, especially earlier in the season like we are now. But that could possibly track into the Caribbean here as we get, again, 9 days out from now. Now, the reason why the Euro takes the first wave and kind of loops it out to sea, it breaks down the Bermuda High. See a weakness in that ridge, and it shoots off to the north there. GFS not seeing that weakness in the ridge and kind of taking it on more of a west-northwest trajectory there. So we'll see how things play out. Let's compare the two models, and playing it right on through the next 7 to 9 days, not much. It's not until we get towards 10 days out from now that you see what we just saw on the GFS, highlighting the possibility here of something lurking off the southeast coast of the U.S. 10 days out, take this with a grain of salt. This is one run. Most likely this will not occur this way. It'll probably end up somewhere else, or maybe in the middle of the Atlantic somewhere, or maybe nothing at all. But it's just something to keep an eye on as we get deeper into the season. Activity tends to pick up. All right, let's go visit the Eastern Pacific right now. We've got one system out there, Henriette. That's a tropical storm at the moment, and another area of interest here developing possibly off the coast of Mexico. That's got a high chance of becoming the next named storm after Henriette. Right now, 50-mile-per-hour winds, showing you the track here because here's Hawaii. Possibility of this holding together as a tropical storm passing by just to the north and east of Hawaii as we get later into this week and into the upcoming weekend, which is interesting to see there. Pacific names, we're at Henriette now, so I believe it's Ivo will be up next with that area of interest there. That's now got a 70 to 80% chance of developing in the East Pac. All right, our tropical trivia question from yesterday. What's the most named storms formed in the Atlantic during the month of August? Was it 6, 8, 10, or 12? And believe it or not, there was 8 named storms in August in 2 seasons, 2004 and 2012. So both kind of recently. Look at the storms that made landfall on the U.S., several. 16 named storms here over those 2 seasons in the month of August in 2004 and 2012. All right, let's get to today's question. In what month have the most Category 5 hurricanes formed in the Atlantic Basin? Was it in July, August, September, or in October? I'll have the answer for you tomorrow night on HHL. In the meantime, scan the QR code that download the 13 News Now Hurricane Guide. There's information on supplies you should have on hand, emergency numbers you might need, and a whole lot more. And just a quick reminder, we are here Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. on 13 News Now Plus for Hurricane Hub Live, and also we're on YouTube streaming as well. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.